Culture is one of the things that connects us. It is a major part of the human condition and our understanding of what keeps humans together even when they haven't met or interacted. It creates questions that we can answer by connecting through others. This idea of shared culture fosters thought beyond yourself, or in other words, it lets you open your mind. I've always understood that humans are connected in some way, but I've only really started seeing it for myself through real life experiences and real conversations I've had with people. Getting the chance to learn about the world through the lens of someone else, and because of that, I felt like I could understand that culture deeper. The shared experiences, the shared traumas, all of it. The way someone carries themselves because they were taught to be bold and abrasive when it really mattered. That's culture. The way two people can bond over the same meals that they grew up eating. That's culture. Good or bad shared experiences that humans can connect over is the foundation for the concept of culture. I talk to my friends in college about anything and everything, and all I have found is that so many people have different versions of the same experience and are able to connect and find solace in others. The way you grow up is culture. The way I tell jokes, I learned them from my mom. My friends learn jokes from their parents. The way we tell them and the meaning behind them invite someone into that shared experience, deepening the bond that a shared culture can bring. The way I tell stories, inspired by my grandmother, and my favorite story from her, the story of Fallen Rock.
Centuries ago, there was these two young boys. They were out there playing in the village, running around, having a good old time. And this elder saw these two young boys playing. And he called these two young boys. He said, "You two young boys, come here. Come here." And these two young boys came to the elder. It's time for you young boys to become young warriors. He gathers all the villagers in the village, all the elders, all the young warriors, and they go in a circle around the village. And he brings those two young boys up into front of the villagers, and he says, it's time for these two young men to become young warriors. And how they'll become young warriors is they'll have to seek this precious stone. And when they seek this precious stone, they will bring it back and they become young warriors. But they will have to endure the rough terrain, the wild animals, and even the bad storms. And so it said, but once they find that stone, then they become young warriors. Do you understand, Running Elk? Running Elk looks at the elder and says, I understand. He looks down at Fallen Rock. He says, do you understand, Fallen Rock? Fallen Rock looks up and says, I understand. So he says, be on your way. So they both run out of the village and they go up into the mountainside to seek this precious stone. Well, several days passed and they look out in the village. There's no sign of Fallen Rock or Running Elk. They look around and they look again. Another day or two passes. Pretty soon they see a young warrior, a young man coming, and it's Running Elk. He runs back into the village. As he comes into the village, he looks up at the elder and he says, is this a precious stone that we seek, elder? And the elder says, yes, it is. And he looks at Running Elk. Running Elk standing there with his clothes all shredded and his scratches on his body and all wet. And he says, come with me. And they go into the center of their village again. And he calls all the villagers. He calls all the elders. And he says, Running Elk has found this precious stone. Now we shall honor him as a young warrior. And how we shall do this is we'll have a feast in his honor and we will have a dance. So that night they have a big feast for him and they have a big old dance around that fire for Running Elk. So the next day they look out the village again as to see if they can see Fallen Rock, but they don't see Fallen Rock anywhere. And so the elderly ladies, they get worried and they say, I hope that he's okay and he's safe. So couple more days pass, they look out there again, the elderly ladies, they look, and they don't see Fallen Rock. And so they start dancing around the fire, and they start chanting a prayer for his safe return. Pretty soon, a couple more days pass, they look out the village again to see if they can find Fallen Rock. But there's no sign of Fallen Rock, so they get worried. And they have a meeting, and they call all the warriors and all the men in that village together. And they say, Fallen Rock has not returned. So what you need to do is in the morning, all the young warriors and all the elder adults needs to get up and go out into the mountains and seek Fallen Rock and see if they can find him and bring him home safely. So the next morning, all the men and their other warriors, they get their weapons, they get their bows and arrows, they get their blowguns, they get their tomahawks, and they get ready and they go out of the village up into the mountain to go seek Fallen Rock. They look and they look up in the mountains and goes into the valleys trying to find Fallen Rock, but they can't find Fallen Rock. And pretty soon the villagers, they keep looking out there again out to see if they can find Fallen Rock. Still no sign. So they keep looking and looking for Fallen Rock. Even today, they're still looking for Fallen Rock. And do you know how you can tell they're still looking for Fallen Rock? You go down the highway and you'll see a sign, a yellow sign on the side of the road. It says, "Watch for Fallen Rock."
That was the story that sat with me almost 15 years after hearing it for the first time. It's a connection to a culture shared by so many people for generations before me, and the one that I get to share with people after me. When we invite someone into our shared experiences and culture, if done right, it pays a respectful homage to those who lived and experienced that culture the same way you are now. It connects you to the people who have helped you become who you are, the people you are going to meet, and most importantly, it connects you to the people with you in the present. We are a collection of who we meet. I cut chicken because of the way my mom taught me when I was young. The jokes I tell are inspired by friends from over the years. I've seen the impact that people have had on me in every single thing that I do. I think part of the concept of culture lies in the realization that one day you will pass on the things that you carried with you. One day you will pass on your culture to another person, whether it be a future partner or a small child or even an old friend. Eventually you will invite someone to experience the shared culture that helped you grow. It's a cycle of personal prosperity. The ability to grow with, appreciate, and instill culture isn't present in everyone, but by finding it in yourself, you will give others the permission to shine and to grow alongside you. But that brings the question, what happens when culture isn't respected? It becomes tainted. In order for culture to be properly appreciated, it has to be respected. Of course, that's easier said than done. Sometimes ignorance can put you in an uncomfortable position, and that's natural. I've been on the wrong side of that myself, where ignorance had brought me to a place of disrespect. But growth is the perfect remedy to ignorance, and a big part of culture is how you grow up, how you mature, and how you become someone who adds to the culture of your own heritage. Your heritage is an experience that is held by humans alone. Another way to describe it is the human condition. The human condition is essentially everything that happens to everyone, regardless of where they have come from. From being born, to being able to love, to wondering why we were put on this earth, we all experience similarities in our lives. Humans are messy, and we can feel a million different things at once. We can be so sad that we laugh, and it's beautiful. We can be so happy that we cry uncontrollably, and it feels so grounded and natural. After crying, we feel less burdened. After laughing, we feel this weird smile that just won't go away. Is that not what it means to be human? To experience all these crazy and illogical feelings and decide to continue going forward and to continue to experience them? The human condition is a complex topic to decipher, but understanding how your culture has an impact on you helps a lot in figuring it out. Your culture teaches you how to experience the human condition a lot in different ways. It might have been your dad teaching you about his favorite sport, even if you might not have cared about it. Or your grandma telling you stories from her youth. Or maybe the family gathering where your aunts and uncles who you couldn't even remember would swear up and down that they used to change your diapers. Everything about the human condition is identical to our understanding of culture. The shared experiences of humans and how it shapes us and lets us grow. Through all the messy, complicated feelings, and through all the good times, and through all of the bad, You will always have your culture. You will always have the shared experiences that grew you as a person and connected you to those around you. If there isn't anything more beautiful than knowing that, I'm not exactly sure what is.